The janitor walked in late again. His gray uniform still smelled faintly of bleach, and the worn-out mop he carried had seen better days. His name was Ethan Cole, and while everyone else saw a cleaner with tired eyes and calloused hands, no one knew that behind those quiet eyes was a man carrying the weight of a broken past, a brilliant mind, and a promise he made to someone he loved more than life itself. As the glass doors of the FortuneTech building slid open, no one paid him any attention. But what happened inside those walls, over the next few minutes, would change the fate of the entire company, and leave everyone, including the CEO, speechless. Backhand index pointing right if you believe in second chances, in the strength of kindness and never judging people by their appearance. Take a moment to like, comment, share, and subscribe to Kindness Corner. These real, emotional stories need your heart to keep beating. Ethan wasn't always a janitor. A decade ago, he was on the verge of a breakthrough in artificial intelligence that could have changed the world. But when his wife was diagnosed with cancer and his newborn son needed round-the-clock care, he made the only choice he could. He walked away from his dreams, sold everything he had, and disappeared from the tech world without a trace. By the time his wife passed away, and he was left a single father to a fragile little boy, all he had left was his knowledge, his love, and the desperate need to provide. The fancy jobs wouldn't call back. The degrees didn't matter anymore. So, he picked up a mop. He took the janitor job at FortuneTech not because it paid well, it didn't, but because it had stability and a healthcare plan for his son, Noah, who needed monthly medication to manage a rare genetic condition. Ethan worked night shifts, cleaned messes no one dared to touch, and ate alone in the back of the cafeteria where no one noticed the brilliance behind his quiet eyes. But every evening after tucking Noah into bed, he opened his old notebooks and wrote algorithms on the back of used grocery receipts, just to keep his mind sharp. He never told anyone who he really was. He didn't want sympathy. He just wanted his son to live. One Thursday morning, panic swept through the FortuneTech headquarters. A new AI prototype set to launch in 48 hours had crashed, not once, but 5 times, causing a total system failure that put a $100 million merger on the line. Engineers scrambled. Consultants were flown in. The project lead was in tears. The board was furious. And the CEO, Madison Hale, a sharp, poised woman with a reputation for being icy under pressure, was at her wit's end. Nothing made sense. The system that had taken years to build was collapsing in front of her eyes. While the tech team worked late into the night, Ethan quietly mopped the corridors, as usual. But he couldn't help overhearing the snippets of conversation, the panicked explanations, the frustrated cries of, "This can't be happening." And then, through a glass window, he saw it, the whiteboard filled with complex equations. A single formula at the bottom didn't sit right. His heart froze. He stared. Blinked. Stared again. It was a recursive loop algorithm he had once developed in his early 20s, an exact mirror of his old prototype. But someone had copied it wrong. One line. One tiny syntax error was enough to bring the whole system down. He hesitated. He wasn't supposed to be there. He was just the janitor. What if they laughed? What if they threw him out? But then he thought of Noah. Of the night spent holding his son's hand in the hospital. Of the promises he made at his wife's bedside, to never give up, and to show Noah that strength comes not from what the world gives you, but what you give back to the world. He walked into the glass conference room, still wearing his gloves. The engineers stared. The CEO raised an eyebrow. He apologized softly, then pointed to the board. "I think I know what's wrong," he said. Everyone froze. Silence. Then laughter. But CEO Madison didn't laugh. She looked at his eyes, and saw something others missed. A sharpness. A fire. She gave him a marker. "Show me," she said. Ethan stepped forward and, with trembling hands, rewrote the failing line of code. It took him 32 seconds. Then he walked out without another word. 10 minutes later, the system rebooted. Fully operational. Bug-free. Madison ran after him. "Who are you?" she asked. He looked down. "Just a dad trying to make a living." The next morning, Ethan received a call. Not from HR. From the board. They offered him the role of Chief AI Architect, with full benefits, remote options to stay home with his son, and a personal letter of apology signed by the CEO herself. The video of him fixing the code went viral on the internal network. Employees who once ignored him now stood when he walked past. And Noah, well, he now proudly told everyone that his dad was a superhero in disguise. Ethan didn't take the job for pride. He took it to show Noah that you never let the world tell you what you're worth. That no matter how far you fall, your purpose will always find its way back to you, especially if your heart is full of love. Backhand index pointing right. If this story touched your heart, if you believe brilliance can live in the quietest souls and heroes wear no capes, please like, share, and subscribe to Kindness Corner. We share stories that the world needs to feel again. Memo special request. If you've ever been underestimated, or believe everyone deserves a second chance, comment below with, "I believe in kindness." We're reading every word.